Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Mr. Ridarola with a presentation on the characteristics of colonial government. This is a tutorial that's to help you better complete your summary outline. So, hey, let's get right into it. This is a new reading, so we're going to be starting at the beginning. This particular presentation is going to cover settling the English colonies, but there's also development of American government and characteristics of government, and I'll cover those in a separate presentation. Let's get right into it. Hey, we know the deal. When we go into reading and we go to summarize notes, first thing we do is start our during reading strategies, right? We're making connections, relating information I already know about the subject to what I'm already reading by comparing my experiences with what I'm reading. We always do that. We always interact with text. This is a big one here with the outlining, right? Because we are identifying main ideas and supporting details. Okay, we are doing that already when we're outlining. We should also ask questions about the reading. You know, how's it organized? Cause and effect, compare, contrast, problem, solution, question, answer, sequence of events. We're looking for those types of things within the reading, the organization within the reading as we go along. And finally, we're clarifying understanding, using photographs, charts, other graphics to help understand what you're reading, by deciding whether the information you're reading is fact or opinion. And again, with that one, we tend to use that one more with document analysis, but you can also do it when you're reading here. So, hey, after reading strategies, recall's a big one. We're summarizing the selection in writing. We're doing that anyway, right? Using headings to question yourself about what you're reading. That's a good thing to do, actually, even in the before reading activity. Okay, responding, drawing logical conclusions about the topic, forming your own opinion about what you've read. You do that with the reflection activity at the end, which we'll get to later. And evaluate. Search the selection to determine how the author used evidence to reach conclusions, forming your own judgment about whether the selection was objective or biased. Okay, and again, we tend to do that more with doc analysis. Okay, but you can also do it with textbook reading. Let's point that out. We're also summarizing using our rules-based skills here, correct? Recall is a primary strategy we use here. We're summarizing the selection in writing. Remember to effectively summarize. We're using these three strategies: delete some information, substitute information, and keep the most important information. Delete, substitute, keep is the name of the day. And again, we're using an outline format to complete our summary of the text. We're breaking things down by, hey, the title, topic, subtopic. We're going paragraph by paragraph. It also allows you to organize your summary, right? I mean, you do it paragraph by paragraph. Also makes you slow down when you read. That's one of the skills I'm trying to teach you here, is that you can't just rush through the reading. You need to slow down, pay attention to the details. Details matter. So, hey, let's get right into it. Settling the English colonies. I'm on page 1 of the reading. Right at the top, this is my first topic. I know that much to be true. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it's 5 paragraphs here. Indeed, there's 5 paragraphs. So I know I'm going to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because there's 5 paragraphs. I'm probably going to have an A intro here. I know where I'm going with the outline already. And hey, eventually I'll have you do these outlines without my formatting. So it's a good idea to pay attention to the structure before you even start. So let's take a look at this. First paragraph, jumping right in. Okay, in the 1600s, England created colonies in America. A colony is an area of settlement in one place controlled by a country or another place. The early colonists were loyal to England and brought with them the traditions and beliefs that had shaped England's government, including the idea of their rights and representative government. And again, I'm making connections here. Obviously, the ideals of the Magna Carta by the 1600s came over, and certainly the Bill of Rights impacted these people. So I can make that connection right away. So the English settlers that come here are coming here with those ideas in mind. That's something to keep in mind later on when we talk about the causes of the American Revolution. So right away, those ideas are important. Notice what we're seeing there: traditions and government. So the ideas of trial by jury, the ideas of individual liberties, right? The ideas of rule of law, shared powers, limited government. We've talked about these things. Those are all coming over with the English. So how did I summarize this paragraph? Let's break it down. Well, first of all, this is topic 1, settling the English colonies. I don't have a subtopic here, so I'm going to call this subtopic intro. What's important in this paragraph? Looking through it, 1600s, England creates colonies. They settle was a settlement in one place controlled by another. Loyal to England, bring traditions and beliefs. including rights and representative government. So let's see what I captured here. Okay, so number one, paragraph one. I try to put as much as I can in that first one if I can. Remember, they all have to be one line long, so don't go beyond that. 1600s, English colonies created. Settlement in one place, controlled by other. Kept it really simple. Again, you don't have to have this in complete sentences. It can be short statements, brief statements. That's all it has to be. It can be phrases. It doesn't have to be full sentences. Early colonists, loyal to England, same English traditions. Rights and represent government. I kind of shorten representative to represent. And notice what I did with government there. I just put govern. Done. I mean, there's paragraph one. I'm already finished with it. Now, once again, as you're going along with me here, if I'm going too fast, stop the video. Check your notes. Make sure you're doing this right. I would suggest at this point you try doing it on your own and then check my video. This will make you more independent. Just a good idea. Use my video as a check. Remember, it doesn't have to be exactly like mine. You can have some of this split up, and you can have an A, B, and a C. But you should have the gist of what's there. Paragraph one is done. And again, this very short paragraph. I'm going to move on to paragraph two. While most colonists were from England, others were also people from Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. Settlers fled the wars and religious persecution in nations such as Germany and Sweden. Additionally, thousands of Africans were brought to the colonies as slaves and had to work on plantations, in fields, in shops, and in the homes of European settlers. Again, I'm going to interact here a little bit with this. A lot of cause and effect here going on here, right? So people came to America to escape the problems going on in Europe. And I should tell you, in the 1600s, lots of warfare in Europe. There's something going on called the 30 Years' War. It's pretty vicious. So people are looking to make a new way of life here in the Americas. Okay, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, they come here. So this led to that. War, persecutions over religion led to the settlement of the Americans. Hey, and unfortunately, the slave markets led people from Africa to be forced here during this period as well. So I'm going to summarize this paragraph too. Most colonists from England, others from Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. Wars, religious persecution from Germany and Sweden. Africans from Africa, slaves, worked plantations, shops, and homes. I should have a summary that looks something like that. So let's see what I did. Hey, paragraph two, most from England. But also Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. I really kept that simple. Fled religious persecution, especially Germany and Sweden. I could have said wars and political persecution. I just went with a religious one. Thousands of African slaves forced to work plantations, shops, homes, and settlers. Done. So I just had an A and a B there. That's all, 2AB. Okay, so again, stop the video if you need to check your work. Again, I would suggest going ahead of me, doing the work first, and then just double checking to see how you did. Use this video as a check, not so much as a guide. That would be the smarter student would do that at this point. The proactive student would do that. Okay, paragraph three. Several colonies along the Atlantic coast were not founded by English people. The Dutch started a colony that later became New York, and Sweden began a colony that became part of Delaware and New Jersey. So let's see, three other colonies founded by Dutch and Swedes. New York by Sweden, Delaware and New York and New Jersey by Sweden. Part of Delaware. Yeah, what am I trying to say here? Yeah, right. That's what you do when you summarize. You work it out, right? Other colonies founded by the Dutch and Swedes. New York is definitely Dutch. Parts of New Jersey, Delaware, Sweden. There we go. I knew I'd get it out. Okay, so there's my third paragraph. Let's see what I did. This should be three. Basically said that. I did say several colonies along the Atlantic. Do I need to say the Atlantic? I don't know. I could have probably skipped that. I could have probably just said several colonies. Not English, but Dutch and Swedish. I could have said that. Though I do mention New York was Dutch. I do mention Sweden, control of Delaware, part of New Jersey. Perfect. So I'm already on paragraph three. Okay, and I'm almost done with page one already. Okay, so hey, there's my first three paragraphs. There's my first part of the reading. I'm going to move on to the fourth paragraph. Paragraph 4. People came to America for many reasons. The chance to earn a living was the biggest reason. America offered land for farming and job opportunities. The nobility of the crowded European continent owned the land. Nations fought over territory, leading to wars and instability. Religious differences in Europe also caused conflict. America provided a chance to start anew, away from Europe's troubles. So problem solution I'm looking at here as my during reading strategy. Europe's a mess. The nobility owns the land. There's war going on. There's religious instability. Let's get out of Dodge and let's create a new opportunity for ourselves in a new land, away from all this violence, this bloodshed, this conflict. So I mean that's really why people came here. So again, how did I summarize this? Well, this is paragraph 4. Came for many reasons: earned living, desire for land, new opportunities. Okay, nobles owned land in Europe, constant fighting, instability, fought over religion. America provided escape for troubles. I really did a lot of substitution there. I deleted a lot of stuff it said there. I condensed a lot of stuff, and I reworded a lot of information. And that's what you're supposed to do in the outline. So for a long paragraph, that was kind of a long paragraph, I kept it rather short. I kept it rather, the word is pithy, right? Kept it just to the point. And that's what you want to do when you're summarizing. Paragraph 4. Again, if you just stop the video, do so. Paragraph 5, I'm at the bottom of page 1 already. However, getting to America was difficult for many. Some could afford the trip, but others who could not came as indentured servants. These servants worked for colonists who paid for their transportation in exchange for food and shelter. They worked for 4 to 7 years until they paid their debt. Then they could start their own lives in America. Okay, so this indenture, we've talked about this before. They were making a connection. We talked about this when we talked about Jamestown and Virginia. Many of the people came here as indentured servants. They could not afford the trip, and this was the way they did it. They gave a amount of labor, or many years of labor, to a certain person who brought them over. It was kind of what we call quid pro quo, this for that, and that's why they came here. Okay, so getting to America difficult, could not afford trip, became indentured servants, worked for people for what was this for food and shelter, or they worked for people for transportation. Received food and shelter for 4 to 7 years, paid debt, started their own lives. I should have something along those lines. Let's see how I did this. Okay, so getting to am. Notice how I shortened to America down to am. Difficult. Trip expensive. Became indentured servants. Worked for 4 to 6 years. Why did I say 4 to 6? Was that correct? Maybe it should have been 4 to 7. Should have been 4 to 7. What was I thinking? 4 to 6. Close enough. Okay, paid for transport, food, shelter to pay debt. Then started their own lives. I really shortened that down at the end. Okay, so notice again, it's a series of phrases put together. I did not go into graphic detail. I picked the really most important stuff. That delete, substitute, keep thing. And I'm also done with this particular subtopic, the introduction. I'm ready to move on to page 2, which I'm flipping to now. And I'm ready to go. Again, if you need to stop, do so. Pause the video, get what you need, and then move on. Or better yet, move on and then check the video and see how you're doing. And moving on we will. Origins of colonial government. So hey, this is a new subtopic. This is B, and I got it right at the top of the page. It says that. Let's get to the first, and these are short paragraphs. We should be able to get this done pretty quick. Because the colonies were far from England, colonists wanted to protect their rights as English citizens. Many colonies set up their own governments, often made up of citizens who represented their communities. Now we're getting into that self-rule thing, right? I can see that right here. And why? Because according to the Magna Carta, the idea of having some level of self-rule, or having a group of people sharing power, there's that principle of the Magna Carta, was important to the English. They wanted to bring that over with them. Okay, colonies far from England wanted to protect their rights, set up own governments. Citizens represent communities. I'm probably going to have a summary, something like that. And whoa, that's scary, right? Far from England, colonists wanted to protect rights. Colonies set up government, included citizens to represent communities. I put rep communities. It's almost exactly what I said out loud. So there's paragraph 1. Again, stop the video anytime you need to. Okay, paragraph 2, that's real short. These representative governments attracted more settlers. The idea of local control was appealing to those willing to settle in America. So not only do they set up representative governments, people are attracted. They come here because of that. And hey, I know something about this. I can make a connection here. House of Burgesses. right? I mean, I think that came right to my mind. You know, this idea is an incentive to bring people here, offer them the idea of having representative government. Hey, so rep governs, attract settlers, local control drew people to colony. And by the way, I didn't even have an A and B for that one. It was so short, that was it. That's all I had. Finally, we had our last paragraph. So moving on. Colonists in English colonies saw themselves as English citizens and believed they deserved the same rights. These rights include the protection of property, trial by jury, and fair taxation, as guaranteed by the Magna Carta and the English Bill of Rights. Many also expected to participate in representative government, and boy, does this relate to what we've... And this is why I covered that information, because these are the values and traditions that the people wanted to bring with them here. Right? This is what they wanted to bring. And here's my last paragraph. So here I am, number 3. English colonists believed they had the same rights as English. How about that? They're English. They think they have the same rights as English. Okay? We'll come back to that topic. Protection of property, trial by jury, fair taxation. This should all sound familiar to you. And again, guaranteed under the Magna Carta and the English Bill of Rights. And they wanted to participate in representative government. Note those values. You know, I always tell you when it's bad, and I'll tell you it's bad, but when it's good, and I'll tell you it's good. And I got to tell you, these principles of the Magna Carta and these traditions that we bring over from England, from the Magna Carta and Bill of Rights, good stuff. This is the basis for our freedoms here in America. I cannot really reinforce that enough. It's very important to keep that in mind. Okay, so hey, we're going to stop right here. The next subtopic is development of American government. That's a little longer, and I'll do that one in the next presentation. So with that, again, if you have to pause this or go back and look at it, do so. But with that, have a nice day.